Matt, welcome to AI to Peace.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Listen, firstly, I want to say a massive thank you to Kudo. You enabled this global conversation to participate. We couldn't have done it without you, and we're immensely grateful.
Okay, pleasure. I'm glad we can be part of it.
Right. So the first thing I want to ask you is, could you tell me a little bit about yourself and your journey?
Yeah, sure. So I got into computers when I was 5. That's when I started coding. I got given a keyboard and a computer, and I was like, "Oh, this is fun." Fun to some people, it was to me. So I actually started programming games to begin with, and I just stuck to computers. That was it all through my life. So through college and university, I then had software and computer businesses selling through magazines. That's before you could sell on the internet back then. And then in the end of the 90s, I had some online businesses as the internet was taking off, and that's when I realized, and some of those became pretty large, and I realized actually this back then it was literally the internet was something new. So I realized, this is something I really should be growing and focusing on. So I set up a cloud hosting company, which ended up being a big data center and cloud infrastructure provider. And we ended up providing kind of 1 to 2% of the UK's internet, a big provider in the UK. Ran that for 16 years, that business. And then once we exited that, I saw, when I was running that business, I was just seeing a huge waste in the IT industry. Data centers half empty, servers not full. Data centers using dirty power, they were using coal power. And really, then, this was kind of 2016, I was seeing the impact of this power on the world as well. So we wanted to start Kudo so that we could make computing and the cloud industry more sustainable. That was the original design behind it. And we had the skills to do it. We wanted to make sure everything that we do runs in renewable energy. Some of the stuff that we do, we kind of use heat recovery, for example, from servers. And those servers are actually used to do things like grow cucumbers, or they heat public buildings. So it's all about sustainability for us. And then being able to access that computing resource all the sustainable computing resource and enabling anybody to get hold of it and use it. And AI is the perfect use case for this because it's all high performance computing.
Absolutely incredible. Talk to me about some of AI in relation to the manifestation of a more peaceful and sustainable world. And you just talked about some great examples of how that energy can be utilized for something really constructive and positive. What gives you the sort of greatest hope, or what excites you most about the role AI will play in our future?
I think AI is going to change everything that we do from day to day. If you look back, like the internet, for example, when that started taking off, that changed how humanity did communication, completely changed the way that we do everything today. And I think AI is doing exactly the same. That it's going to change the way we make decisions and the way that those tasks that come from decisions happen. And that enables us to scale across the world. It's scale in everything that we're doing. And from a peace perspective, what we want is a global plane where everybody has access to communication. Everybody has access to the same technology. From an education perspective, if you think of maybe underprivileged locations in Africa or any countries that don't have access to education is a good example, then education, when someone is more educated, they have a chance to have a better life, they have earnings, they're less likely to go into criminality. It changes society when education is there. And I think AI is going to bring education, is going to be one of the biggest positives that it does. And the reason is because you can have any computer, you can even do it on a phone now, that you don't even need to have access to the internet. As long as it's on that device, that's got most of the world's knowledge. And kids now can talk to it, and they can have it as a teacher. They can have a scientist teacher, a mathematician, English, whatever it is, whatever subject, that's the expert, and it will teach them, it will educate them, it will give them feedback. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world. And I think that's going to be one of the biggest changes that it does.
Amazing. I mean, this is the first time we've met, and it's obviously it's a real pleasure to meet you. But you talked about a few things today. You talked about education, you talked about poverty, you talked about disease, you talked about transferring energy and doing something constructive with it. You talked about the importance of education. Then you're supporting Peace One Day to enable a global conversation. Seems to me that your values and the sense of doing well by doing good seems pretty important to you and Kudo.
Oh yeah, 100%. You know, I mean, we live in this world together, and I think it's a responsibility, especially for what we do. You know, we power lots of AI companies all around the world, building the latest technology in everything that's now going to change society. So we've got a responsibility as a company. It's a personal belief myself, obviously, but as a company, you know, we have a responsibility to try and guide that in the right direction. And that's what we want to do. You know, we want to make things like AI Peace Day are free and available for everybody to learn and be educated from, and get that message out there, and people understand the good that can be done with it.
It's really inspiring. And obviously, like I said, I'm immensely grateful. It's great to see people like yourselves with such strong values in relation to the role that business can play in relation to our survival. And we wish you the best with your journey. And we're very proud to have partnered with you. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, pleasure.
Cheers.
Cheers.